Yahweh Shalom Ad Barak. Allahu Salamu Alaikum wa Mara Matulahi wa Barakatu. Our Father's peace and blessings to you. Our Father's peace, mercy, and blessings to you. It's time for a party. Today's party is called Need I Say More? Shalom Barakakati. Yahweh Shalom Barak. Today's party is starting a little bit late because uh, me being me, lost track of time. However, I was in the best place to ever be. We were having a discussion on Minister Stevens live, and Ak Davad was in the building, Ak Coleman, Pastor Don, Minister Akati La Cristo Yahawah. She was there. A lot of people had come to the building. So we were talking, and it took a while before I got out of there, and then went to go and check on a few things before I looked up and realized, and guess what? It's like 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. What are you gonna do? So I finished up what I was doing and had to get my mind right. And that's that's a lifetime process, right? So here we are. Today's party. Need I say more? Normally we get together at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about entrepreneurship and service in our communities. We have 10 special interest groups that we focus on. Each of them has their own specific day. We're on Monday or Sunday through Friday. That reserves Sunday for question and answer period. Each other day gets its own day for perspective. Now, those perspectives, those focuses would concern organic marketing strategies. Now, why am I pausing? Because I'm seeing that we have a visitor that came in. We have 12 in YouTube land right now. Ildefonsa Duran. Shine a spotlight on you. Where I'm from, I must greet you with the greatest of greetings. Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Allah. Allahu assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kings of Fortnite. Yahweh Shalom Barak. Our Father's peace and blessings and mercy be upon you. I appreciate you calling me a nugga when you walked into my party, because it means you recognize the king in me. Degan Considine, bienvenuto. You have questions? Is this not a homologio that you were prepared to hear? Have you not heard of Esperanto? Ever met an ambassador before? Bienvenuto. You're welcome to come in and stay and hang out as long as you like, because this is a party. Why your forehead big? Because some people would mistake me as being a Klingon. You know what a Klingon is? Where's your honor? Shine a spotlight on them. I'll give you about 5 minutes to play around, because we came here with an agenda. Ex Dread, Yahweh Shalom Barak to you. Our Father's peace and blessings. Much appreciated. Five minutes only? All right, we're going to give them a theme song then. You know you should have done it. We're going to give them a theme song. And this one is for the fans. If you didn't know, For Fans Only was started so that people could go to rooms and privately learn things. Yeah. See, since 2016, there was a discovery. And we're going to make it known about this discovery. People are suffering from this affliction called smooth brain syndrome. Hey, that's what's up. Tada, X-Dread. I appreciate that. I really do. Tada, thank you. Shukran. Gracias. Spasibo. So let's get on with this theme song for this new inductee who obviously didn't know, so someone had to let them know. You have smooth brain syndrome. Now, if you want to hang out with us today, be able to do something that can help you cure that. Now, it would take you being a willing participant, though. See, I can't just ascribe to you what you will need to do. I can't even say I will need for you to do so and so. This has to be something that you are just going to willingly do. Okay? I'm willing to work with you. So we're going to give you a theme song. We're going to dedicate this to the fans. And then we're going to get along with the party. Is everyone else in agreement with that? You can put Amin, which means I touch and agree. You can put Selah, which means, yeah, we'll stop and think about it and move forward. Or you can put Ashe, which means so be it. Or you can put a thumbs up. You can put an okay. You can do whatever, right? Because it's time for a party. And what we say this party is called? Need I say more? Yeah, y'all done got me started. Oh, I got to check one more thing. Oh, yeah, I'm down to about 3 more sips in my coffee. So we'll get to do the coffee ceremony and everything. I pray everyone's having a great day. I have been having an excellent day. And by the time I get done with this message, it's going to make my day brilliant, like that light over my shoulder. You heard? Let's get it. So this is for you. Smooth brain syndrome patient. This is for you.
If you don't hear their drops, then this is not a true exclusive. DJs. Street info. The word is good. We've got plenty of it.
For the fans. 5 minutes of fame, 5 minutes of funk. Little Deuce O2. Shall I call you Pete or repeat? I just saw numbers go from 5 to 3. And you want to tell me about 2. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the party. Yahweh Shalom Barak to you. Our Father's peace and blessings. Appreciate you. For all of you who have come to the party, I'm here to let you know I'm not here to collect numbers. I'm not here for a popularity contest. No. You see that name? That name says angelic discipline. Now, everybody who has stepped into this room, into this party, who is under the impression that angels are going around wearing wings and nightgowns, you're sadly mistaken. Somebody told you the wrong story. Angels are messengers. So now let's go back and look at that name again. Angelic discipline means a messenger's discipline. Now I want you to go back and think of all the stories that you've heard about angels. Think about what they did, what they came to say, and how people treated them during those times. All right? See, there's a lot of power in a name because a name is an authority. And an authority is Shem. S-H-E-M. There's a lot of people all around this planet arguing over just that. Shem. Who has a name? Who has an authority? Who's standing under the correct one? Right? Everybody's arguing about that. Deacon Constantine, there's probably you, and there's about 2 other people, and who knows who's going to come visit later on. All right, you see that individual that just came into the room and spoke? Now, that's Minister Stephen. That's a brother who walks along the divine path with me. So for anyone who has concerns about whether or not you are the only one that's going to show up to the party, have no concerns at all. All right? Have no concerns at all. If you showed up to this party, you are more than welcome. And you will be treated with positivity. Okay? So let me see here. I got to rewind it back. What did I say the name of this party is? Need I say more? You see, we get together. I'm going to say this one more time, and then we're going to get to rocking and rolling. We get together 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in order to discuss entrepreneurship and service in our communities. We have 10 different special interest groups that we speak upon, each having their own individual day. We get together Monday through Friday, Sunday through Friday. Some people would call Saturday Shabbat. We take Shabbat off and let others do what they need to do. You know, can you see me? Because I see you. What was that? Oh, I was dropping the lid to my coffee cup because I still have a couple of sips left before I refill it. We'll go through the coffee ceremony in just a moment, all right? That's part of the process as well. So there's 10 special interest groups. Each of them has their own day. We take off on the Shabbat because there are other people who deliver messages. And out of respect, I step back and I soak up some information. Then I start gathering up some jewels. They cast them out. I'm there to collect, right? So 10 different days, 10 different special interest groups. Today's special interest group is Nam Dehum. For each different special interest group, we are focusing on the perspective of how can they do something with organic marketing strategies. Nam Dehum is looking at innovations. Now you may ask, well, who is Nam Dehum anyway? You know, all those independent artists and musicians out there talking about how they have to pay a curator for them to be on a playlist. Do you know what a curator really is? Have you looked it up? I'm here to tell you something. I put a question out one day. I said, can an artist be a curator? I received a whole bunch of no's. They said, no, an artist cannot be a curator. Really? A curator is a person who is in possession of a collection of art and they are willing to put it on display. Speaking of musician, you can play him. Well, that's great. That's great. You compose music. Now let's get to it. If a person paints a picture, they can go to an art gallery. They can go to a local venue, a shopkeeper, and ask if they can hang their art on the wall, or if they happen to make sculptures and so on and so forth. So what if you're a musician? Do they have musicians galleries? Is that what you call Spotify? Is that what you call iTunes? Is that what you call BeatStars? Is that what you call the information that you get from DJ Payne? Because, yeah, I know about him. Curtis King, I know about him. All the people talking about how you can be successful and independent. Yeah, I heard about him. I watched them and I listened to all of their advice and all the ins and outs. And when they get done with it, they have to tell you, you're going to have to go find somebody who's a lawyer or somebody who knows the ins and outs to finances as well as law. If you really want to be successful beyond getting your beats uploaded and published and licensed over here and sold and leased over there. You'd rather have friends and not be alone. No man is an island, nor can man live off of bread alone. No person can say that they're actually independent. The moment you open your eyes and go and interact with anybody on this planet, you are no longer independent for that day. If you open your eyes and go and sit down and watch TV, you are no longer independent because you're watching something provided by somebody else. You're never independent and you're never alone. It's up to you to have the perception of thinking that way. Namdehum is a partnership. There's Fox Owl Wisdom, and then there's Wired Owl. Fox Owl Wisdom can tell you anything and everything there is to know about playing a guitar. Anything and everything there is to know about lining up about 18 different switch pedals, running loops, and playing a live set that's also connected to a DJ mixer and turntable and whatever kind of accoutrements you want. That's Wired Owl. I mean, that's Fox Owl, Fox Owl Wisdom. I have many friends, but I just moved, so I'm not going to their school. I understand, yes, because I'm a nomad and there are many times that I've had to change schools. So, yes, I know exactly what you mean. Changing zip codes, area codes, states, meeting new people, and still trying to hold on to those who mean the most and who have spent the most time with us, the ones we've built memories with, right? Well, that's the partnership between Fox Owl Wisdom and yours truly, Wired Owl. I know a little bit about playing the guitar. I learned to play music through playing a trumpet. Now, if you want to know about how to do an impromptu show in somebody's living room or at a pavilion in front of the river at the park or whatever, if you want to find out how to get somebody to travel all the way from Baltimore to Middle America to perform in your living room and then travel on because you made sure that they at least had some gas and they brought T-shirts and stickers along, so they were able to sell that to the people who showed up. If you want to know about stuff like that, you can holler at Wired Out. Now, can an artist be a curator? What does it take to be a curator? You have to be in possession of a collection of art and willing to put it on display. Hmm. So, what would give me or Fox Owl Wisdom credence, credit to be able to say that we are curators? Well, Fox Owl Wisdom has been in music for over 25 years. And you can find examples of his music on SoundCloud. His name is Droptimus Grimes. Optimus Prime. Droptimus Grime. His name even gives you an idea of what he does. You like it when that beat drops? Go look up Droptimus Grime on SoundCloud. 25 years in the business, and you can get a sample of what he's done in the last 2 or 3 years. All right. And then there's 3P Rojh, 3P Roj of Highest Heights Studio. Now you can find 3P Roj of Highest Heights Studio on SoundCloud. And you'll find out that 3P Roj of Highest Heights Studio is in affiliation with Mafia Soy Publications. And see, this is where the rabbit hole starts. Because Mafia Soy Publications started way back in 1999. So if you put hashtag Mafia, if you put hashtag soy, or if you put hashtag publications, you'll find some things affiliated with Mafia Soy Publications. Or you can just put the whole thing, hashtag Mafia Soy Publications. You're going to find some things. And then you put in hashtag Highest Heights Studio. You're going to find some things. And then you put hashtag 3PROJH. You're going to find some things. And then you put hashtag DJ Microwave 5KW. DJ Microwave 5,000 watts. You're going to find some things. Yes, You got the idea. Soy sauce. You see, there's a CEO to Mafia Soy Publications, privately owned label. His name is El Negro Dizzy. It's his name for the label, and the reason why is because my son, who was born in 1999, was lactose intolerant. Now we all sitting around the house eating Chinese food, watching kung fu movies, and Dizzy was thirsty. Man, what you got in the fridge? And you go in there and look, man. Y'all ain't got no milk. You got soy sauce, soy milk, rice dream. Yeah. Oh, this soy mafia. That's right. Now let's look at those two words. Mafia. En español, se dice mafia como se dice familia. Let's look at soy. Se dice soy, se dice I am. So, mafia soy, family I am. Yeah, mafia soy. We got the soy sauce from the Chinese people. Yeah. It's actually a bar from one of our songs. Yeah. I have a whole album called Duck Sauce. I like the hot mustard. Get at me. So, can an artist be a curator? I don't know. Considering the fact that I've published 5 albums, and more than that, that's the albums that are under my name. There's an album that I helped a brother publish that's dedicated directly back for Yahweh. Did a partnership album with Fox Owl Wisdom in order for us to have Nam De Hum as a label. DJ Microwave 5000 Watts released the first album called Volume 1, Improvisations, Volume 1, meaning that there are some more albums to come along with it, right? 3P Roche, first album dropped 2016, End of the Brick Paved Road. Next album up, Crystallized Mind. What album after that? Have Some Cake. You still walking with me? So can an artist be a curator? You see, I have a collection now that I can broadcast to people until it exists, right? And the funny thing is, you might tell me, oh, I went and looked you up on iTunes. I don't see you. Well, that's because it was up for a second and now it's gone. You know why? I'm in a battle with my PRO right now. What's a PRO? Most musicians are told that they need to get with Ditto or CD Baby. I didn't go that route. I don't pay subscriptions to anybody for anything. I was looking for how to get my ISRC, that's an individual serial registry code for each track that you upload and publish for distribution. I wanted that for free. I wanted my album UPC for free. So I went about it in a way that they didn't tell you was part of the instructions. They didn't tell you it was part of the agreement. So no, I did not use DistroKid or CD Baby or Ditto. And now I actually own my masters. I have the ISRCs and the UPCs, and I didn't pay a dime. Mm. And it's under copyright. There's copyright that's registered for my enterprises. And then there's the copyright that gets registered according to whoever is going to publish and distribute it. No matter what they do, they cannot take away my rights. If they mess up on their end, I'm still covered. Now, that's through the PRO. You would still have to get two other instances showing that you have a catalog, a moving body. So I talked to Sound Exchange, and they make sure that my publisher is doing what they're supposed to do, because each of those songs and tracks get attributed right back to me. The publisher does their duty, and they're not going to get paid unless I get paid. We're going to pause in the game so I can answer this real quick. Allahu assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hitler. Bro, you so old. Did you try warning dinosaurs about the mass extinctions? Ha 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 ha. If my knee grew a little taller, I'd probably slap it. Ha ha ha. See, there was darkness, there was light, and there was dirt. Now, between light and dirt is when I came around. I'm older than dirt. You're welcome to stick around. Bienvenuto. All right, so where were we? Bro, so old, he witnessed the Roman Empire fall. It was off of antics of my cousin that the Romans even learned how to have an empire. Have you heard of the Etruscans? It's my cousins. You can thank them. So yeah, I probably did watch them. You see, on one side of the peninsula that you call Italy, it's called the Terran Sea. Now, if you go east, you're going to find this place called Tehran. Now, you take in how far of a gap that is. And then I want you to understand that there's also a place called Maghrib. That's Morocco and everything west. Everywhere that I stand, I own, including anything from Tehran Sea all the way to the land of Tehran. It's in my name. How about you? What you wish to try to conquer has already been given to me. Dida. Shukran. Gracias. It's possible. We came here today with a mission. Who knows what the word Tabah means? See, I can only play with y'all for so long. I told you that. You can play for a little while, but then the party's going to get started. You know what? Let the children come on. Now, the kids can go hang out in the sun until they need to get some shade. Now let the children come on in. You see, kids are the progeny of goats. And I'm hard headed. I'm a ram. Not even a goat wants to mess around with me. So let the kids go run around and play. The children, y'all come on. Come on, come on. Because now playtime's over. I'll let you go back and play in a minute. We're at the 36-minute mark. I'm seeing 3 in YouTube land, and we got to get started. Goat scared. You heard about the 3 Billy Goats Gruff, right? Well, there was a shepherd and a ram watching the whole thing the whole time. Who knows what the word Tabah means? Thank you for the sub, Deacon. Thank you. Who knows what the word Tabah means? It means lawful. And some people say good. We don't say that word. It's an all right word, but it's not all righteous. Tabah means lawful, according to creed, according to standard, what is acceptable to Yahweh Elohim. Tabah is a re-utterance of the will that was already spoken. Awful, no. Lawful, yes. Lawful. You could break down the word awful to be something that causes awe. Matter of fact, fills you up with awe. There you go, lawful. There are some who would say Yahweh Elohim is awesome. Yes, it causes you to have to step back. Even the word itself, A-W-E. W is double V. Ave. Ever heard somebody say it before? Ave Maria. Ave. You know what goes along with Ave? Ahava. I've been sent on a mission. I started a TikTok profile back in like 2021 or so because I wanted to tell the world the definition of the word disenfranchised. I was on a mission. We're going to break it down to the letter, to the syllable, to the letter, to etymological levels, everything. What does disenfranchised mean? Because that's going to be our standard for our foundation. We are anti-disenfranchisement. So whatever that is, that's what we're going to build our foundation on. And we're going to open up a storefront to fight disenfranchisement. Now, that wasn't me starting out what I was going to do, because like I said, it started in 1999. It actually started way before then. About 1982 when I was 6. And I prayed. 6-year-old me didn't know that a funny thing was going to happen to get to today. My device is telling me if I don't plug in, we're not going to be able to talk anymore. Got 5% on the battery. Yeah, 1982. I was 6 years old. And I prayed. I needed help and guidance from our Creator to show me how I could manage to put together something that would be of benefit to our people. Oh, yeah, I'm plugging it in right now. I got a handy dandy one of these. Solar powered backup. So, a funny thing happened on the way to today, 43 years later. Everything along the divine path. Funny thing happened. Because if I hadn't taken the divine path, I wouldn't be in front of you right now. You reading? Okay. So I'm not trying to hold you off for too long. I'm going to give you fan vision for just a second longer. Then we're going to do, make sure I don't have my coffee. Walk with me and talk with me. Stalling you out because I got to get everything set up. And I got to use the bathroom for a second before we can get going. So, stalling you out. I was led to look up lineage in the Quran and where it's covered in the surahs because my mission is to show the correlations between the Quran and the Bible. There are people who will jump up and down and tell you that Muslims are the enemy to Yahshua. And that's the biggest lie. I won't say the biggest lie invented. However, that's the biggest lie running right now. The Quran was sent as a reminder of what is put in the Bible. It backs up everything that was put in the Bible. So I was sent on a mission to pick up every time something got put out there that was false information. And I'm here to actually recite and reference the correct information. Now, I could be spending my whole day every day. Too many missions is no such thing. You got 24 hours in a day. Can you do 24 missions? What you talking about? As I was saying, that mission is a life mission. You can't do 24 missions, one per day. Let me tell you a short story and then I got to get back on to what I'm doing. All right. Prophet Muhammad, Allahu alayhi wa salam, peace be upon him. When he was traveling with the Muslims from Mecca going into Medina, they had to cross the desert. And as they were doing so, you've heard of mirages. Now, they would stop at an oasis, and you could see a mirage where things looked like it was wavering and stuff like that. However, you could also see some things going on around Prophet Muhammad, because when everybody else would stop to pray, or no, excuse me, while everybody else was stopping to rest, he would immediately get off the camel and pray. And that's for every stop. So the people noticing all these movements around him and things like that, they come to ask him, okay, well, what are you doing? What's going on there? Oh, just praying and asking for guidance and things like that. How many times are we supposed to pray? 100 times. Oh, no. We can't do that. We be praying all day, every day. Okay. Well, can you go and ask the Most High if there's a smaller number? 50 times was the answer when he came back. Oh, no, that's still too much. How am I going to pray 50 times? How about 25? No. All right, I'll tell you what. I went and prayed, came back, and there is a final answer. It's not going to change. A minimum of 5 times a day is what you are required. 5 times a day. Now, when the people were watching Muhammad as he was praying and they were seeing the movements, they said, surely he has angels around him while doing so. He has angels around him and he's talking to the Most High at the same time. So at the end of prayer, when Muslims are doing their prostrations, the closeout is called the tashahhud. And the tashahhud is actually the conversation that Muhammad is having with Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises to our source of mercy and sustenance. And in that conversation, there's 3 lines. I greet you, Almighty Creator. However, I can't offer peace because peace comes from you. I greet you with peace, my helper. May you have mercy and blessings. May your peace, mercy, and blessings be upon all of those who have walked the divine path before me. Ameen. And so then the angels say, there is none to worship except Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Ameen. That's the tashahhud. Next up, well, what's in a prayer? What you think, what you say, and what you do are all counted in your prayers. All of it. One moment, I need to wake up my brother. You all give me just a minute. I'm going to take this time to wake up my brother. And like I said, I need to use the bathroom.
Empire. DJ JT, what the fuck going on? Street info. Oh, DJ,
Shalom, family. Now that right there, wake up. Calm, Yahasharayel. Calm, Yahasharayel. Chazan, Yahasharayel. Why was he asleep? Because he went to his toilet at 5:30, and then he got off at 1:30 p.m. He went to his toilet at 5:30 a.m. That's why he was asleep. He deserves his rest. Yeah. Please understand something. When they tell you 9 to 5 is the regular schedule, that's because they're programming you. You know, when I go to sleep, 3 or 4 a.m. Understand something. I'm usually up way past 3 a.m. waiting for sleep to fall on me. Back in the game again around 10 a.m. Listening for the call. Alhamdulillah. Barak Allah. Feek. Way outside of the system. Right? Way outside of the system. Oh. All right. So let's do this coffee ceremony real quick so we can get started. Yeah, because it's saying we're at the 52-minute mark. As far as I know, we started about 30 minutes so late. Why was he in the bathroom? No, I had to go to the bathroom. I was walking around with you all, telling you all what was up, and then it dawned on me. I needed to wake my brother up. He had asked me when I started this live to wake him up. And so 2 birds with 1 stone. Wake him up, and then I need to use the bathroom at the same time. Waking up around 3 or 4, exactly. We all got different sleeping schedules because we all have different forms of work that we do. I'm usually an insomniac. There might be 36-hour periods that I go through, meaning I'll see sun up and sun down, and then looking at towards the sun about to go down again before I go back to sleep. Other times I catch a 10 to 12 hour sleep. Sometimes only 2 or 3. You got summer break? Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. All right. So as I said, we are about to have the coffee ceremony. This involves a little bit of ASMR. For those who don't know, pay attention to all the sounds that you hear. Kwanira. Kwanya Khashraya. Khazan Khashraya. Come out of it. Rise up. Felt like you've been in a sunken place? Rise up and rejoice. Khazan. Hot chocolate. Chocolate is one of my favorites. Now, chocolate doesn't do for me the same way that coffee does. like that. Huh? Yeah, that sunken place, or you coming out of that? You ever heard of a group called Wu Tang Deacon? They have an album that they put out back in like 95, 96, 97. It's a double album called Triumph. Wu Tang. Wu Tang is for the children, although there's some very adult lyrics involved. Well, their double album, Wu Tang Forever, there's a skit in it. And it says, pick up this double album. That's all you're going to need. You're 11 years old. When I was 11 years old, I was riding on a bicycle in Southside Chicago with a boombox strapped on the back, listening to different tapes and things like that. Sometimes the people cussed, sometimes they spoke very positive about us. So I just had to tune it out when I would hear it and only focus in on those building lyrics. Now, I'm not here to tell you to go and buy music with dirty words. I'm just here to let you know there's other ways to observe. Are you 11 or are you 18? Because if you're 11, you're not even supposed to be in this room right now because it's flagged not for children. I'll allow you to be here because I was very young and speaking with adults, learning a lot, and also expressing my mind. You like music? Well, that's great. We've gone beyond the subject of music because now we're about to get into the meat and potatoes, as they would say. The real reason why we came together today. We're at the 57-minute mark. I can't promise you that I can put this all in about 45 minutes to an hour. As a matter of fact, from the way things look, we're definitely going to split this in half because we're about to go through Surah At Tawbah. So we're going to lead off with Al Fatiha, and then we're going to look at some information about the revelation of Surah Al At Tawbah. And then we're going to start reading the verses, the ayat of At Tawbah. Because Thursday of last week, I received a very special message. Reminded me that I haven't really been speaking a whole lot about humility or defining humility. Been talking about some very humble people. Just hadn't said, oh, they're humble. There's a character called Gamel. When I say character, I'm talking about the Aleph Beit. Aleph Beit would be Aleph through Tav, the 22 characters that represent the ways that you would form up words and descriptions in Paleo Hebrew or Avra tongue. Gamel. Gamel means camel. In the Western world, everybody likes to say they're going to piggyback something. And then we started saying, well, we're going to lammy back it then. Camel's very humble. Let everybody take his name and what he does. Camelback is a very humble back, strong and supportive, and also holds rehydration, sustenance. Oh, that's fine, Deegan. You know what? Even if you don't know what I'm saying, if you're picking it up, this is where you get to go back and look up some stuff. You thought, oh, well, I'm on my summer break. I get to just go and hang out and chill. Well, that's on you. You can, you know. But I'll tell you something. At 11 years old, there needs to be somebody in your life that tells you, hey, these are some things that you need to know so that by the time you become an adult, people will treat you with respect. So 11, 18 years old, whichever one you are, or whatever age, there are certain things that people should be telling you. And so when you do those things, people actually treat you better than anybody at whatever age you happen to be because you're being exemplary. Exemplar. I can't get the word out. Exemplary. You're being an excellent example. Exemplary. You are showing people that, yeah, there's a standard. However, I am striving to be even above the standard, right? So the things that I'm saying, it's out there. And there are adults out here who haven't picked up on it. All right. So I give you respect for taking time out of your day to even pick up on something that might not sound like it's familiar. However, it's enough to gain your attention. I do want you to go back and look up anything that I say. And we are fortunate to have these lives to where I can save them and they're in a playlist. What's a curator on Spotify except for a person who says, I put together a playlist, and if you pay me, I can put you on a playlist? Is that what you think a curator is? People make me laugh every day off of simple things like that. Tell you what, how about you come pay me? I'll show you how to really register your work. And then I'll show you how you can have your own store where you have the playlists and you decide who should be lined up on what playlist according to what genre or style they happen to be. You get to set up your store shop list with the different t-shirts and the hoodies that you want there. You get to put the shelving up to hold the books and the magazines. You get to put the shelving up that holds the boxes of the MP3 players. And for the old heads out there, you actually do have some CDs and some tapes and some records. And it's not just music, it's people talking with information. Because you have soundtracks of people who are teaching, who are giving the word. Because when I was 11 years old, riding around South Chicago on a bicycle with my boombox playing, I was hearing people like Gil Scott Heron reciting poetry over breakbeats. Now you ask me, well, who is Gil Scott Heron? You ever heard the revolution will not be televised? The revolution won't be televised. You're not going to hear it on the news. You won't be able to sit in some armchair somewhere. Go look for it. Am I still in Chicago? I'm on planet Earth. I told my nephew what block I grew up on. See, I didn't necessarily grow up on that block. It was the block that I was taken to after I was given birth. And it was the block that I would go back to visit whenever I would visit my family. And they stayed there till I was probably 16 or 17 years old. Then they moved from that house. And it was a large family, so everyone split their ways, and two or three of them stayed with Auntie. The others went about and started new families and all that kind of stuff. Some of them still are in Chicago. Ran into my cousin a couple years ago. I was up there visiting. And he said, "No, you don't even want to go back to the block. Because out of a 2 block stretch, it's about 2 blocks, yeah. Because you got from the expressway, and there's a road that went along the expressway, but it was not an access. You couldn't get back onto the expressway. It was a road that went alongside the expressway and it curved around. It's a tall wall, and then there's a tall chain link fence. And behind all of that, between the fence and the wall and the actual street, was the elevated train. So you had the elevated train platform and the stairs that went down, and then you have the corner where the corner store was. And you look down the block, out of 2 blocks, 3 or 4 of the houses are still there. But the wall is there because the highway is actually about 50 feet below where the ground meets the road, so to speak. It's elevated up, and then the train is elevated up even higher. The highway is cut way down below. Right before you're going into downtown, you can see the skyline. It's a big curve that you would go into. If you are entering into Chicago from the southeast side on the interstate, you go around a big curve and then you're actually facing north and you're looking at Chicago downtown. Right when you go around that big curve, that's where my neighborhood was. Behind you, and then over to your left would be some territories that are now famous. Old Block. I told my nephew where I was from. Riding around South Chicago on a BMX with a boombox. No, I'm not still in Chicago. I'm not very far away from there right now. And the thing about my life and my lifestyle, I pretty much have to always say that I'm in an undisclosed location in order to protect me, my loved ones, and so on and so forth. Of course, he was shocked. I grew up on the other side of the expressway from O Block. And the part that I grew up in was not so much different. What O Block is today, go back 1982, go back 1976. That's when I was born to this planet, 1976. Was he shocked? Uncle, did you know King so and so? No, I did most of my stomping around north of Louisiana. King so and so wasn't down there. Go back to 1547. What, when they took the land of Chicago away? When everybody was driven up to Kankakee? 1547. Keep talking about. What you talking about, Willis? You see, we have an agenda, and I enjoy answering questions. However, we have somewhere to go, somewhere very important to go. And I mentioned Gamel and how humble Gamel is because he lets everybody take his grace and glory and fame. How heavy is the camel? How graceful actually is the camel? Y'all, pardon me for just a second. The device is going crazy. I wonder why. All right, so my clock says it's 5:45 Eastern Standard Time. We're 15 minutes away from the top of the hour. And I'm bound and determined to do this. So since we're 15 minutes away from the top of the hour, we've made it to the hour and 11-minute mark. We're going to burn up 45 minutes. Okay? We're going to go ahead and get as close to the 2-hour mark with this party. Why am I bringing up the Gamel? Because in the first grade, I met my first best friend. My first best friend, we look like twins. Gamal Khalif. We stayed best friends and close and inseparable till we were about 16 or 17. He moved away. He moved to the East Coast, and then from the East Coast, he moved to Jersey. He was very far away from where I was at. We stayed in contact through writing letters every now and then and making those long distance phone calls because this is before wireless. It cost an arm and a leg for us to talk for 5 minutes, so our conversations were real short. Saw each other again, time and again, the summer of 17 years old, and then again, the summer of 19 years old. And then we drifted apart. Now, the last time I saw him, we had a misunderstanding, and it wasn't bad vibes or anything like that. Gamal actually is a very humble person. Now, I'm saying it according to how I would pronounce it now. However, his name is Jamal. Jamal Khalif. I'm not going to tell you his last name. 19 years old. Said, hey, bro. Gamal. And his name is Jamal. Gamal. 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 That's how you would say it in Arabic. Or Gamel. That's how you would say it in Avra. Either way, it means camel. We were 19 years old, hanging out on the weekend. I told him, hey, I had a vision back when we were 16 that I'm supposed to have a son. And his name is Ishmael. So my bro looks at me and he's like, okay, I'm supposed to name him after you. So he looks at me and he laughs. And he said, that's not my name. None of that is my name. So, so you gonna break the rules or what? I said, no, he's got to have a middle name. So his middle name is gonna be your name. Oh, for real? You gonna call him Jamal? I said, nah, I'm gonna call him Khalif because I found out what Khalif means. He said, for real? So I had to tell him what his own name meant then. On top of the fact that, yeah, he's in the tradition back then, I would have said he's godfather of my son. Now I don't use that term anymore. And that really isn't a term in culture, right? So anyway, What does college mean? I challenge you to look it up because right now I'm in the middle of something else. Caliph. Kalif. Caliph. Caliph means representer. In direct definition, it means, there you go, you're getting it, you're close. Caliph, yeah. It means representer of the imam. So what's an imam? An imam is someone who can actually teach from sections in the Quran. You all pardon me just a minute. My phone's going crazy again. All right, so here we go. This phone's been doing that since the day that I got it. You've heard of C3PO and R2D2. I'm holding R2D2. So, Caliph means representer, more specifically, representer of the Imam. An Imam is a person who has lots of knowledge, is very intimate with the Quran, knowing that the Quran is a backup for the Bible, meaning that it's saying everything that's in the Bible is what you need to go and study. So an imam would also be very familiar with what's going on in the Bible. Who's the first person that's talked about in the Bible aside from our Creator? Adam. Adam was the first caliph. Adam was the first imam because Adam was representing the imam, who would be the one who knows everything about the standard, and the one who knows everything about the standard would be our Creator, Yahweh Elohim, our Creator, the Lord over all worlds. Representer, that's right. So my son, his name is Ishmael Caliph, runs up on me one day. He's about 8 or 9 years old. Now, all the way up to about junior high school, all the way up to about 10th grade, my son was in a school system where he was surrounded by children from Pakistan, Iran, Azerbaijan, Germany, places in Africa, other places in Asia, India. So he's running around with children who have names like him. And then he's watching the news. And so he runs up to me and he's like, hey, Dad. I was like, yeah, what's up, son? I keep watching the news. Am I going to grow up and blow up things? I said, nah, son. You're meant to do better things than that. Well, that's what's going on. That's what I see on the TV all the time. I said, son, don't you worry. So why you give me that name? Now, that's when he was 8 or 9, right? My son's a lot older now. That was like 2008, 2009 when he was asking me that. So let's bring it up to a recent day. Dad. Yes, son. Why again did you name me Caliph? I named you after my best friend. What was his name? Jamal. Why couldn't you name me Jamal? Because that means camel. Now, mind you, there's nothing wrong with being a camel. The merchant who can't pass through the needle's eye is walking with a camel. Now, what does it take for that camel to fit through the needle? Think about it. Okay, so Gamel means humility. I learned something on Thursday. Not necessarily that part, but I still learned something, even with that. Listening through the session, picking up on stuff. Minister Stephen hit a hot point. He started talking about Musa. I love talking about Musa. Well, who's Musa? Moses. You see, Moses was walking around with his brother Harun, Aaron. Every now and then they might say Haran, the land of Haran. Well, that's Aaron, Harun, and Musa. Now, at the time, the story was going on about when Musa had to go off on a journey alone because some things had transpassed. And while he was out, he came across a kingdom that were polytheists. And he had to stay there for a while and be the king because there was nobody else who had that rank and know-how. So he had to stay until the heir to the throne was old enough to be able to sit in that place. And then Musa went on to travel some more and he found himself in a place called Midian. Midian is also a place where they were polytheists. You see, all through Musa's life, he was having trouble finding people who actually did practice the way of Yahweh Elohim. And he was being taught in schools and studied and studied and studied and thought that he had the key. Well, when I was listening Thursday, it moved me to share a story. And that story was about um, Katir or Kitar. Musa went and visited a man who was known to be very, very wise. And he went and learned a lesson. You know, we've heard about Musa going up and hitting somebody and then the falling out just from one hit, boom, person taken out of there. Musa actually went and visited with this wise man, and this wise man put his hands on someone. And Musa jumped up and was like, what gives you the right? He learned a lesson. He learned 3 valuable lessons with that particular wise man. However, I knew that I needed to dig deeper because I was sent on a mission to remind everybody about Ashur. Remember the day of Ashur. And remember who Ashura is. Musa may have learned his lesson. However, we still have to go and study and study and study so we can find out what that lesson was. Even though it's written and you can go and find it, not everybody can go back and tell you the actual story. Most people can tell you, yeah, Musa killed somebody and then he had to leave. And while he was gone, he saw the burning bush and did some works and got married and came back and freed the slaves. And yeah, yeah, it's way more to it than that. It's way more to it than that. So, with all of that being said, Ausu billahi min ash-shaytanir rajim. We seek the protection of our Father against Shaitan and his evil ways as we travel along the divine path. I'll recite Al-Fatiha in order to preserve and protect us as we ask for sustenance, guidance, and forgiveness while walking the divine path, while reaching closeness with our Creator. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amen. Whenever we go to visit a new surah, I like to read through the introduction first so that you can get a background on why the surah was revealed. People mistakenly tell you that a surah is a chapter in the Quran. This is not true. I just spoke 7 verses. The first surah, 7 ayah, 7 verses. The surah that we are about to review has somewhere between 128 to 129 verses. Ayah. So you telling me that a 7 verse section is worthy of being called a chapter the same way that 129 verses is going to be called a chapter? So it's actually broken down where there's 30 equal sections. Now those sections are called juz, Juz, juz. If a person were practicing their 30-day fast, you read one section per day. So when I was saying Al-Fatiha with its 7 lines, it's going to go into the next surah where I'm going to read some more until I get to a mark where it says, okay, that's the end of Juz 1. Now I want you to meditate on what you just got through reading. Your study is you read it. Now I need for you to bring it here. You take that knowledge, that standard, walk with Ravak HaKadosh, and get the wisdom, apply that knowledge to get some experience. And then once you've got the experience, I want you to go out there and use it so that you are conscientious about it. Most people know of Muslims as being someone who partakes in Ramadan. The practice itself is not necessarily called Ramadan because this is something that Prophet Muhammad was doing before they gave the name of the period of time Ramadan. Ramadan is on the Hijra calendar. You put too much knowledge in my head. Be prepared. Always be prepared. Always have a notebook and a pen. Listen now, retain it later. Listen now and retain it later, and you're definitely gifted. Listen now, retain it now. Use it later. You're a soldier. Use it now. Retain it now. You're a teacher. All right, so it was known that Prophet Muhammad would leave and be gone for 30 days. He always went at a set time of the year. It never changed. And he would study, meditate, and fast. He was known as an agnostic. That doesn't mean that he was an atheist. It doesn't mean that he didn't believe in the Most High. He just didn't have a proper name, so he didn't want to go saying anything improper. So he took 30 days per year, altogether, 30 days fasting, studying to find the answer. Until one day, an angel came to visit in the form of a man whose name was Jabriel. Jabriel said, read. Prophet Muhammad said, I can't read. Jabriel said, read. I can't read. Read. Read what? Say, O Prophet. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmani Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Istina Sirata al-Mustaqim, Sirata al-Ladina an'amta alayhim, Ghayril Maghdubi alayhim, Walad Dallin. Ameen. Allahu Akbar. Our Creator is the greatest. Whereupon Muhammad ran home, and he was about 6 or 7 miles away from home. Each time that he would go and do this fast, he was in a cave about 6 or 7 miles away from the house. What did Minister Stevens say? They were about that walk life back then. Yeah, you could cover 6 to 8 miles and say that's a day's journey, even though you could do a whole lot more than that. Me personally, I can walk uphill 6 miles in about 2.5 to 3 hours. Think about it. So yeah, Prophet Muhammad ran all the way home, where his wife Khadijah met him and threw a blanket over him because he was shaking and shivering and he was sweating and crying. She asked him, "What's wrong?" Shaking because I am afraid. I am feared. I am afraid of what it is that I'm about to have to do. What do you have to do? What's going on? This has been revealed to me. I have to go out and say these things. I have to go do these things. This is the life that I must live from now on. In the name of our Father, the most merciful, the most beneficent, Lord and Creator of all worlds, the most merciful, the most compassionate. I seek you to guide me along the divine path that you established. And I thank you for forgiving me every time that I messed up. Please show me how to actually be that same kind of way with other people around me. Thank you for the purpose that you have given to me through the divine path. And don't let me be like those who disappoint you. Now, I've kind of mixed some of the verses around. However, that's exactly what it says. I have to go out there and tell the people that, and I have to live that, and I have to tell the people that's the way they're supposed to be all the time. Not just on Sunday, not just on a holiday, every day, all the time. I have to tell the people about what Toba really is. I have to show them how it is to be Toba all the time. Yes, everyone makes mistakes. The idea, though, is once you've made the mistake, you learn from the mistake and you don't do it anymore. That way, if someone else is going along and they're about to make the mistake, you can tell them, hey, that's a mistake. Now, you don't ride them about it. Even if they're about to make the mistake and they're going to go ahead and do it anyway, you are still supposed to at least say, hey, that's a mistake. All right? You don't got to slap their hand. You don't have to turn them around or nothing. You just say, hey, that's a mistake. Just do that part. Exactly. So when you make a mistake, then you make sure you just are. I know I don't need to do that no more. I stepped on somebody's toe when I did that. I stepped on the most high standards when I did that. That's not righteous, right? No physical contact. No physical, emotional, or spiritual, unless it is positive and conductive and building towards Yahweh's kingdom. That's the code. All right? That's the code. So we just went through the exercise of Al-Fatiha in order for you to understand that that's our underlying mission all of the time, every day. When I open my eyes and I return back to this physical realm that we all call reality, That is the programming that's in my brain. When I open my eyes, get to work. Here's your mission. Deliver the message. Well, what's the message? You know all that information that you have been retaining since you were about 2 or 3 years old? Since even before you came out the womb, too? Get to it. Ashe. So be it. So give me just a moment. We are about to look up Surah At-Taba. Pardon me, I'm flipping the pages over the face of the phone. At Tawbah. Tawbah. Surah 9. At Tawbah. I'll uncover the phone in just a moment. I'm turning the pages. Alhamdulillah. All praises to our Father. All right. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to everyone who has been in the party. I see there's 4 in YouTube land right now. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to all of you. You are the reason why I'm here. Thank you. All right. At-Tawbah. We're going to start with the period of revelation. From what I can see, there's about a page of backstory. Okay. We're at the hour and 37-minute mark. That basically means we're going to be able to read through the introduction and we're going to pick up tomorrow. I do want to read at least, first section is 6 verses. So I do want to read at least that. That's going to be very important leading in. And then we're going to come back tomorrow, inshallah, Adon willing. We'll come back and read through completion of Surah At-Tawbah. Because yes, it is a really long 129 verses. I just got through flipping through the pages. So yeah, tomorrow should be a very special kind of party. How do you come back to my stream? All right, where it says Angelic Discipline, I think my whole channel thing is Angelic Discipline 8291. So look up at Angelic Discipline. Or like I was throwing out those hashtags earlier. See, my home channel has been on since 2016. All right. So you'll be able to see a little picture. It's a gold background, kind of a funny looking AI generated face. Yours truly. That's how you can find me. All right. And yeah, Lord willing tomorrow, Adon willing tomorrow, I'll actually be on at 4 p.m. It all just depends. Dolly old guy. Actually, that's one of my hashtags. DHALIOLDGY. You'll find out it's very hard to hurt my feelings. It doesn't matter what you throw at me. Okay. I'm the Joker. Come on now. All right. So here we go. Period of revelation. We read through the introduction so that you understand how and why. Good to meet you. How and why these surah were revealed. Each section were revealed because the people would come to Prophet Muhammad. Oh, we got this problem. We got this problem. We got this problem. How should we solve it? Well, if it came to the point where there'd be 10 or 15 people that kept coming with the same problem, he would say, okay, well, hold on. I haven't had a revelation in a while. Let me go and consult with Allah about it. And when something is revealed to me, surely I will tell all of you. We'll gather everyone together. That could be 72, 76, 176. There were a certain amount of scribes who all had to get together at the same time whenever he would do one of these revelations, one of these surah. And everybody had to write down what he said. And then everybody would compare notes, and it had to be the exact same, no difference. So we go back and we're reading when it happened and why it happened. So when we actually go and do read what it says in the Quran, we will understand the context. Because right now we're caught up in controversy. So if you get past the controversy and find the context, we can move forward with our culture. Is that fair? All right, so period of revelation. This surah was revealed in the 9th year of Hijrah. That's basically everybody's got together and said, yeah, we're Muslims, year 1. And so this is the 9th year of the calendar in 3 different discourses. This surah was revealed in the 9th year of Hijrah in 3 different discourses. The first discourse, verses 1 through 37, was revealed in Zil Qada. That's a surah. Zil Qada. Well, no, that's a place. The first discourse, verses 1 through 37, was revealed in Zil Qada and set a new policy towards the mushrikeen. The mushrikeen are the unbelievers. The second discourse, verses 38 through 72, was revealed in Rajab and dealt with the campaign of Tabuk. The third discourse, verses 73 through 129, was revealed upon the Prophet's return from the campaign of Tabuk. There are some pieces in this discourse that were sent down on different occasions during the same period and were afterwards consolidated by the Prophet into this surah in accordance with the inspiration from Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises to our source of sustenance and mercy. All right, R2D2, chill out. Let's see if I can set the phone up so that I'm not wavering around. And also, one more break. Master Pan will tell you don't to drink too much of coffee. Make you run back and forth to the bathroom. Pardon me. I'll be right back.
If you don't hear their drops, then this is not a true exclusive.
Bismillah. In the name of our Father, I ask for cleansing, preparation, sustenance, mind, body, and soul from this word that we're about to take in. Thank you. I appreciate that honor. All right. Make sure we got power. There it is. See, I don't have GoPro. I got Nomad Pro. Figure out a way to prop some stuff up, right? Okay. All set. Somewhat. Junkie man. Nope, not set yet. Junkie man. Junkie man. All right. Nope, sure ain't needed. It's a Nomad Studio. In the name of innovations, which is the focus today anyway, there's always another way. All right. So if you all don't mind, I'm going to take about 20 more minutes of your attention and we can disperse until a later date. And once again, yes, I thank you all for your patience and for your presence. Okay. Major issues, divine laws, and guidance. This is a bullet list. Policy towards the Mushrikin. That's the misbelievers, the unbelievers. Commandments relating to participation in jihad. So how about that? You hear about jihad on the news all the time. How about the definition of what jihad actually is? How about we start there? Regulations relating to hypocrisy, weak faith, and negligence. The campaign of Tabuk. So we're going to actually get to learn what was going on in Tabuk. Establishment of a Dar al-Islam, an Islamic state. If you look northeast of Tanzania, there's an island strip, and it's called Dar al-Islam. You're close. Tabuk. Tabuk. Everywhere that you're putting a C, it's pretty much a K. But yeah, you've got it. Dar al-Islam is where the Islamic Caliphate stay today, and they are the governing body over Tanzania via the Arabic Emirates. Now, are they in alignment with my statement as far as I regulate anything from the Tehran Sea to the land of Tehran? The Caliphate are not the same as Caliph. You see, when somebody puts that ATE on there, it's kind of like putting ISH on there. Okay? Think about it. So, yeah, there is the Caliph. However, the Caliphate might not represent the best interest or the original provincial principle. Y'all don't get me started. Extending the influence of Islam to adjoining countries. The rules behind it, the standards behind it, how you would go about it. How do you say, I would like to offer the practice of Islam to? How do you do that? Crushing the mischief of the hypocrites. Hypocrites can only run around for so long. They can only try and cause trouble for so long. You know how they say when the cat's away, the mice will play? Well, when Chief comes home, Chief can tell who's been messing up in the party. Preparing the Muslims for a struggle in the cause of Islam. You know that pep rally that you have for a high school basketball game or a high school football game, that pep rally? Well, the Sunday devotion service is basically a pep rally. It's supposed to be about your business 7 days a week. So it's not about gathering on Sunday and calling it a done deal. That ain't even half stepping. That's a seventh stepping. Now, who's ready to play jazz and blues with me? Because that's a seventh step. Now, we going sharp, we're going to step up, or we going flat, we're going to step down. Come on. Somebody give me a 1, 3, 5 and a sharp 7. Let's go. I told you, don't get me started. We going up. Run them numbers up while we at it. We going up, never falling down. Moving, ever moving to an elevated ground. Black Star and Black Eyed Peas. Let's get at it. 1, 3, 5, 7. If you're on that 9, then you really know what's happening. Then we're playing with octaves. Now that the administration of the whole of Arabia had come into the hands of the believers, and all the opposing powers had become subservient, it was necessary to make a clear declaration of the policy which was to be adopted to make this newly formed Islamic State a perfect for Dar al-Islam. A perfect means a home headquarters. So the place of rest for the Muslim community was to be called Dar al-Islam. I'm gonna read that statement again because there's only 2 paragraphs to this, and that whole statement is 1 sentence. The next sentence just introduces the 5 precepts of what we're about to go through. And after the 5 precepts, because we're getting close to the 2-hour mark. After the 5 precepts, I still do want to read the first section. So we are all at the same understanding, the same page. Now that the administration of the whole of Arabia had come into the hands of the believers, and all the opposing powers had become subservient, it was necessary to make a clear declaration of the policy which was to be adopted to make this newly formed Islamic State a perfect, I said prefect, so I misread it wrong, a perfect Dar al-Islam. Well, it's still the same thing. In order to accomplish this objective, the following measures were taken. A declaration was made that all the treaties with the Mushrikeen were abolished, and the Muslims would be released from the treaty of obligations with them after the expiration of 4 months. Notice. Number one, you've got 4 months to dissolve any agreements that you have made with any unbelievers. Because after 4 months, there will be no agreements. They will be null and void. We will not be making any agreements with anyone who is an unbeliever because we will only be working with people who are of the same mind. 2, a decree was issued that the guardianship of the Kaaba should be taken away from the Mushrikeen and placed permanently in the hands of the believers. That's verses 12 through 18. That all the customs and practices relating to the era of ignorance should be abolished, and that the Mushrikeen should not be allowed in the vicinity of the Kaaba. Verse 28. A decree was issued to crush the non-Muslim powers, forcing them to accept the sovereignty of the Islamic State. The object of jihad was not to coerce them to accept Islam, as they were free to accept or not to accept it. The object was to allow them the freedom to remain misguided if they chose to be so, provided they paid jizya, the protection tax, as a sign of their subjugation to the Islamic State. Remember earlier when I said I have some cousins who are the Etruscans? There became this tradition where I might take over your territory, but I'm not going to allow anybody else to come in and bother you. You can do whatever you want. Just pay me tribute. No, honestly, if that's what you do on any given day, you go right ahead. But see, you generate some treasure, and I want a percentage of that treasure. You generate food, and I see you have a surplus, so I want a percentage of the surplus. And anybody who comes in trying to raid you, well, I'll protect you. That's a protection tax called jizya. So if you don't believe in the ways and standards, then we'll just make sure that nobody else comes to bother you. And you make sure that anytime we come through here doing the ways and standards, that nobody bothers us. Now that's all fine and good. However, that is not how we started. Because on Yom 8, it doesn't say, let there be bills, let there be taxes, let there be tariffs. No, that's not there. That's not there. To ensure the stability of the Islamic State, gangs of the hypocrites who were being tolerated despite their flagrant crimes were crushed. The Muslims were enjoined to treat them openly as disbelievers. Verse 73. Accordingly, the Prophet set on fire the house of Suwailim, where the hypocrites used to gather for consultations in order to dissuade the people from joining the expedition of Tabuk. When the Prophet returned from Tabuk, he ordered the Masjid-e-Zirar, which was being used by the hypocrites as a place for hatching plots against the true believers, be pulled down and burned. A masjid is a place of study and gathering for prayer. You've heard of a mosque? A masjid is a school that has a place of prayer attached to it. It's where the imam would teach. So, if you have an imam who's supposed to be teaching faith, has a gathering of hypocrites and unbelievers there, that is no longer a masjid. It got torn down. Those people who lagged behind in the campaign of Tabuk or showed the least negligence were severely taken to task if they had no plausible excuse for not fulfilling that obligation. For there could be no greater internal danger to the Islamic community than weakness of faith, especially at the time of conflict with the whole non Muslim world. A declaration was made, number 5. A declaration was made that in the future, the sole criterion of an individual's true faith would be the exertion that individuals make for spreading the word of Allah and the role they play in the conflict between Islam and Kufir, Islam and those who are non Islam. Therefore, if anyone shows any hesitation in sacrificing his life, wealth, time, and energies, his faith shall not be regarded as genuine. So if I open my mouth to say something and I ain't even said it all yet, you should already be jumping up and going and you ain't even heard what I'm doing. Otherwise, no, you're not faithful. That's what faith means. Immediately standing and going. Faith, not confession. What I said don't mean nothing. Think about it, say it, do it. All one movement. Sword comes out the scabbard, makes a strike, clean the blade, put it back in the scabbard. Blink and you'll miss it. Selah. I'm going to read the opening of At-Tawbah. A declaration of immunity from Allah and His Rasul is hereby made to those of the mushrikeen with whom you have made a treaty. You have 4 months to go around in the land unmolested, but you should know that you cannot frustrate the will of Allah, and that Allah will humiliate the unbelievers. This is a public proclamation from Allah and His Rasul to the people on the day of the great Hajj pilgrimage, that Allah and His Rasul do hereby dissolve treaty obligations with the mushrikeen. Therefore, if you repent, it will be better for you, but if you turn away, then you should know that you cannot frustrate the will of Allah. O Prophet, proclaim a painful punishment to those who are unbelievers. Except this proclamation does not apply to those mushrikeen who honored their treaties with you in every detail and added none against you. So fulfill your treaties with them to the end of their term, for Allah loves the righteous. When the forbidden months, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 1st month of the Islamic calendar, the Hijra calendar, those 4 months are the holy months. You can't have war or anything like that during those 4 months in the Hijra calendar. When the forbidden months are over, then fight the mushrikeen wherever you find them, seize them, besiege them, and prepare for them each and every ambush. But if they repent, establish salah, prayer, and pay zakah, obligatory charity, then let them go their way. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. If anyone from the mushrikeen asks you for asylum, grant it to him so that he may hear the word of Allah, and then escort him to his place of safety. This should be done because these people do not know the truth. Now, this opening is more important than you would ever believe. Why? You heard 4 months, right? 4 months. You got 4 months. Prophet Muhammad would go away on the 9th month, and he would fast until it came upon the 10th month. And it was not day one. No, it was marked. The first of our year starts around spring equinox. Beginning of spring is the beginning of our year. Prophet would fast leading into winter solstice. It was marked after the autumn equinox going into the winter solstice. You have 30 days. On the 20th night of the ninth month of the year, every year, is the longest day and night of the year. Only then, every year. So it wasn't what people call Ramadan, which changes every year. It backs up a month every year. If you're looking at whoever's calendar, it backs up 30 days every year if you want to follow the Hijra calendar. Prophet Muhammad was doing this before there was a Hijra calendar. What makes you say that? Because Hijra means the pilgrimage. So his practice of fasting was going on before they said, okay, we're going to have a calendar. And that happened in the ninth month. So it says here that you cannot practice war during the 4 forbidden months. Well, the first month would be Muharram. That's how you start the year, Muharram. And you would practice Muharram if you missed Ramadan, because Muharram is about 6 months away from when Ramadan would commence, which has me a little bit puzzled just from the start. Because it says here, ten, 11, 12, and 1. Those months, the 10th month, the 11th month, and the 12th month. The months after Prophet Muhammad would have actually practiced his away time. What we see as November into December. Or I won't say we, because I don't practice the Gregorian calendar either. My calendar starts with first of the year is the first of spring. The ninth month comes with the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. Those things were marked there already. I realize we're at the 2 hour and 8 minute mark. However, I need to say this, and then we all can go our way. For everybody who has heard about this black rock on the corner in the Kaaba in Mecca and how it is so revered, I want you to understand that there's actually a linear pathway going to it, because there are about 3 or 4 more of those black stones that have fallen to the surface of the earth, and they haven't figured out if it came from the moon or if it came from another asteroid. However, the big deal about it is they want to say that the Dodoga Dodoga tribe track that line, can take you to the Dog Star, can take you to Syria and everywhere else, show you how to map the solar system, the universe, the cosmos. People arguing about longitude and latitude, and those things were tracked thousands of years ago. It's not anything new. People arguing about whether or not we live on a globe or an oblate spheroid or a flat pizza. Dodoga tribe. Those things had already been spoken about. As a matter of fact, the information had been taken, twisted, and then presented again after being manipulated. There were some jots and tittles that had been rearranged. So what you see today, when they're all arguing about whether or not it's real or not, they're arguing about their own mess. The Earth's already been circumnavigated. There's a reason why the Olmec tribe have remnants from western coast of Africa all the way to the eastern coast of Central and Southern America. There's a reason why you'll find things from the ancient Chinese from Canada all the way down to San Francisco and then all the way down to Buenos Aires. And then turn around and then find them at the bottom of South Africa. There's a reason why the Hyksos are actually the lead-in to those who are in Norway, who had an occupation called Vikings. The Hyksos. Who are the Hyksos? Go study. I'm not here to tell you everything. I don't know everything, number one. Peace be with you. Deacon Considine, I'm about to close this down. Peace be with you. Thank you for spending this time. That goes to everyone. Thank you. Because we're not done. We're just beginning. Adon willing, we'll be able to get together every day, except for Shabbat, because there's other places we can gather on Shabbat. We'll get together, speak 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time about entrepreneurship and service in your communities. We'll always have a different aspect to look at concerning organic marketing strategies. However, our standard always has to go back to these rules. Doesn't matter if it came from Quran or if it came from the Bible or if it came from Apocrypha, because it is still the same source. Keep that in mind. We are reviewing At-Tawbah, the surah called Tawbah. What does Tawbah mean? Lawful, righteous, holy. Bavakasha. Mucho me gusto. It is my pleasure. You're always welcome. Yahava Ahava. Our creator is love. Ahava Ahava. Love is love. That's complete compassion. If you didn't know, love is when you see someone else in need and you go and you help them with the best of your ability. They don't have to ask you. You just go do it. If they do ask you, go do it. They don't have to say thank you. It's not what it's about. That's ultimate complete compassion. Amitabha. Amitofo. That's compassion in both Chinese and Japanese. Yahava Shalom Abarak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace and blessings be with you. Yahashirayah. Our Father's peace and blessings and mercy be with you, O believers. Till next time, many much love and respect. I'm pushing the buttons. Now when I want to push the buttons, they don't work. Any other time, I would be wrecking the show. Till next time.